I'm Chris Gorn. I'm a PhD student at Oxford Brookes University, and I study how we can increase the yield of crop varieties like oilseed rape by fiddling around with the genetics. So I'm looking at 5 different genes, and 3 of them have previously been associated with an increase in the yield of Arabidopsis, which is like a plant which we study as a model species, and then the findings we find from that can then be applied to other species like oilseed rape. My mate who started to do a PhD when she was a mature student, she'd been out of university for a few years and she decided to go back in. And that kind of made me go, oh, actually I could do that because I hadn't thought of it up until that point. And then I worked with 2 scientists, Lynn Rogers and Sue Mansfield, in Minnesota on a TV program I was working on. And they were tracking wild black bears, and they worked out a way of getting the bears to be sort of hand-tamed to the extent that they still had wild behaviour, but you could actually follow them around and then observe what they were doing without them having a go at you, or getting violent in any way. So I filmed that for the BBC, and that was really, that was amazing to do because I got to see behind the scenes of what scientists were actually doing, and that kind of inspired me to go and apply for a master's myself. And that was the route which I took into going to my PhD. Like, keep an open mind about it. Like, when I went into the media, that was the only thing I wanted to do, and I hadn't thought of anything else, and I kind of had the blinkers on. So it's useful to just think, is there anything else I could be doing, or is there something which I'm enjoying right at the moment in my job which I can do as more of a full-time profession? So I was really enjoying the kind of research side of some of the jobs I was doing, but I'd never thought of doing it as an actual full-time profession, which is what I'm doing now, and I hadn't realised how enjoyable it would be. So yeah, just keeping an open mind about what your interests are and be willing to be flexible. I spent 5 years in TV, and I really didn't think until about 4 years in that I would be interested in a career in research science, and now I'm in the first year of my PhD and I'm absolutely loving it. So